All right? So, yes, we're pushing your brains a little bit today. Okay? So now, where we were talking about people and being in groups together and how important that is for us to survive like this. So right now, it's very important that we have meetings like this, we get together like this, and people meeting of like minds. And personal relationships is our emotional brains that sense how others feel about us or think about us, the way they respond to us, to tell us how lovable we are. There we go. Especially in teens. They have the hardest time of all because they're leaving home and leaving the guidance of their parents and those who love them, and they're reaching out and they're taking a chance. And rejection is so powerful for a teen. I don't want to repeat my teens. I like to have the wisdom I have and maybe be in my 20s, yeah. But I don't want to go back to my teens. For it is a constant fear and worry, especially for a teen, that a person or group will accept or reject them. Their experiences shape them for life. And it really does. I deal with this every single day in classes. Tens of thousands of hours I have spent working with people because they weren't taught these kind of coping skills they need. Our natural survival instincts drive us to seek close relationships and emotional attachments with others. From the beginning of our lives, with our parents and teachers, friends, to loving companionships with another. Without an emotional brain, that would not have happened. And your heart built that brain. Our emotional brains allow us to have compassion and empathy for others. Compassion means we care about how the welfare of others and desire to comfort them and assist them. This is where our emotional brain is connected into our higher brain functions in the neocortex. Empathy is not a feeling sorry for another person. It's one of the closest connections we can have with another person, the joining of two hearts and two minds. This world, of course, includes pets. What happened to our pet? Okay, went for a walk.
The cat went up the stairs.
I'll be darned. Okay, well, there went our connection to the pet today. But anyway, we can see that. When we're happy, they're happy. When we're sad, they're sad, and vice versa. Our emotional brain allows us to experience the sheer joy of being alive and being excited. One of my favorite states of consciousness. A great sense of humor is a great tool. It's a great coping technique. It's a unique coping technique. To laugh at ourselves and make fun of our fears. The ability to play is another emotional brain function. Children, puppies, and kittens all love to play. It is a great coping skill that we are talking about. And when we have competitive play, we're not talking about competitive play, we're talking right now. Because competitive play can turn into revenge because the other team won. We're talking about a kind of play that allows and supports these kinds of feelings of companionship. And we have driven our sports into cities and states and places where cities are against each other, and world sports is just like kill the other people if they win. That's reptilian in thinking. It's not a good or bad thing, it's a fact, it's happening. And we're after this kind of play. This kind of play. Where people are supporting one another. The same brain that allows us to experience joy and happiness also allows us to experience deep sorrow. Yes, the same brain. Sadness and longing for someone we have lost. This sense of loss often occurs when we feel betrayed or lied to. If we get disappointed by someone we care about or we trusted, the emotional brain is particularly sensitive to betrayal because it damages our ability to love and care for others. These are pains that can last a lifetime. Some people carry these scars in the form of grudges against others for years in their life. And you can see how this is what it would look inside of you if your cells and you could talk. Anger, breakups, lies, all pointing fingers at the other person because someone did this to them. One of the tools we use in healing a lot is when a person comes to us in classes, whatever we're doing, and has had an experience. And I look at them and I say the following: you have every right to feel hurt. You have every right to be angry and feel the way you do. But is it hurting you? See, the other person's gone. They're not in this room with me and you. And my interest is in you and in you getting better. So I have a tool where I step in and protect the person from themselves. And I tell them that. I'm going to step in now and protect you from your own self. Because it's really important that someone love us and help us understand these things that's happened to us and how we're coping with these things. And when you have somebody that's in their 40s and 50s, this happened to them when they were a teen and they've carried this for so long, it's important to help them, give them the tools to release it. It's a good tool. Anger hurts us, especially when we hang on to it. Shame and guilt are two ways our emotional coping brains inform us that we need to change our behavior. Well, sometimes it's worked on me and sometimes it hasn't. But then I'll revisit it. There are coping methods that help us to stay on course in life, but they're very difficult to overcome because they easily stay with you for life. This is where we need a higher brain coping skills to help us recognize and release the pain and shame. We've designed a second tool for you today. It's called Blame Remover. And we have two for the price of one for $19.95 today. If we only had that, really.
Really, if it was that easy to do that.
This is one of those good ideas. Blame remover. You see, guilt and shame present an addictive pattern behavior, like situations where alcohol and drugs are used. This is where groups like AA help people, and they surround them, they help them accept responsibility and seek forgiveness for themselves and others. Brain timing is important in understanding the differences between the reptilian brain, because that's how fast it fires, and from anger, fear, shame, avoidance, just like a snake in the path, it's instant. But the thinking brain takes a little longer, from seconds to a minute or two, to reflect, to think, to find a way out of this.
To make a different choice instead of just react.
There is a battle we talked about earlier between your coping brains when you get upset. The brain has to make a choice of how it's going to react in hurt and angry situations.
So it can be, you can feel it in your emotional brain and it can go to the reptilian brain and you react, or you can choose to send it into your frontal lobe, your neocortex, by giving yourself a few moments to think, how do I choose to react to this situation? Making a different choice.
The neo-thinking brain needs time to develop, to learn, to manage the reptilian brain. 9 to 12 years of age, children have already developed the ability to cope differently. If they've been given that chance, it could show that. Their brains have already developed that much. Our neocortex has the ability to ask why we're feeling the way we do, why we hurt, why we feel stressed, why we feel threatened. It uses this vast neural network to be able to respond. It searches through your brain. It's looking for taking shortcuts. And in thousands of a second, this is all going on. It's comparing the new challenge with similar ones. Hi. Welcome. Okay. It combines this knowledge from a number of neural networks and comes up with a creative solution. The more experiences we have, the more connections we have, the stronger you get in how to use them. Whenever, well, I'll let that run through.
You can go ahead.
Okay. When you have built confidence and self-worth in your thinking, decision-making brain, you build that trust and knowing you'll bounce back.
So you're not tied in knots, frozen. You're making a different choice. You're pulling yourself out of it.
It enhances our ability to deal with our emotional experiences, but it takes longer when stress hormones are involved. It takes longer to reason out when stress hormones are involved. That's what we're supposed to be figuring out. I mean, that's the stress hormones right there. And it looks like a stress hormone. I've been in homes like that. It's been a stress hormone battle.
I bet all of you, if you've got children, have been in situations like that plenty of times.
Our neocortex is susceptible to long-term stress. Been there in that one. And it impairs our learning and memory ability. So the more stress you're under, the longer you're under stress, really the less options you have. Because it's damaging your ability to think and respond. The ability to reason and use language and words, spoken or written, to describe your experiences is one of our most powerful tools. It allows you to step back and examine the problems created by the stress. The more we can explain our thoughts, our feelings to others, and I look closely at the picture because the male has become the female and the female has become the male. It allows us to begin to shift to see different perspectives. The more you explain things to others, the more you strengthen yourself, the ability to communicate with others and to heal yourself. It's a great coping mechanism, communication. The ability to step back and examine the problems and gain new insights. Is it my new insights? Oh, there it is. Okay. Malware, the things that are going on inside of us. These words and symbols are just, the words and symbols that our brains that we give to ourselves works just like a computer. Junk in, junk out. Words and symbols, just like math signs and musical notes and computer codes, involve abstract thinking. This ability allows us to imagine solutions and outcomes that don't currently exist. And that is where we're going. This ability is what you in this room are giving to the human race.
We all are building that template.
You are that
by
template.
Changing ourselves, shifting our own perceptions.
You may not know that when you go home, but I'll tell you truly, from my heart to yours, if you're sitting here watching this, you're an exception. You really, truly are. And just like cells communicating, because we're all one light right now, you're passing this knowledge out.
You're putting it into the universal field, into the collective consciousness, so that others, when they are reaching out, can pull that into themselves. Even if they've not encountered it in a left brain sort of way, they can still pull that intuitive knowledge into themselves if we've already built it and put it into the whole.
Our imaginations are triggered by curiosity, the how and why questions. Our thinking brains take the information from past experiences and combine it with our ability to imagine and create aha moments where we have a leap in consciousness. At first, we have to reduce the confusion and harmful effects of stress that distract us from moving forward. Once we develop a thinking habit, a pattern forms, a belief structure is created. These beliefs about ourselves and others are difficult to break out of, and they are. And new adjustments are hard. But the beauty of our thinking brain is it allows us to make changes when unique and new perspectives are presented. It is the neocortexes incredible capacity for learning, and using self-management skills to help us to change these entrenched patterns. Okay? Tools. Okay, these are coping sections. Coping strategies, wounding experiences. Let's be all tools. Okay, we're not quite there yet. Okay. Loss is common to every single person here. Loss allows everyone on the earth, everyone will have this happen to them. Sometimes they'll have to deal with that loss. The fear reaction to loss is built in. It's instinctive. Remember, that's automatic. And is one of the most powerful, deeply painful, wounding experiences a person can have. It creates a powerful, basic reptilian emotional response that penetrates our deepest core. People learn to handle loss in different ways. It requires the use of our hearts. Notice how much the heart weighs. And the reason ability to find our way out of its impact on our lives. Loss is not just about other people, losing our loved ones. It also includes the loss of a pet, the loss of a job, the loss of our health, a friend, our home, loss of our youth, loss of money, loss of time, loss of your ability to think, loss the ability to make love, lose our integrity, loss of mobility, loss of sight, loss of hearing, loss of trust. The list is endless that we're going to have to deal with as humans. And your coping skill for loss is extremely important. This emotional wounding pain is made worse. We find out we are the source of that pain. Our own thinking brain is the source of our own pain. Our own reasoning, our own decision making are the very source of the loss and trust of ourselves and others. Our rejection of our bodies is a loss. Again, the imagination, wanting to be something else. The selection of our partners. Repeating harmful patterns with food and drugs. Repeating harmful patterns of choice with friends, both girlfriends and boyfriends. Often it's not the physical wounds that hurt us the most, but the wounds that people can't see, the deeply personal ones we take hidden from everybody. Rejection is one of these. Rejection is a powerful feeling that deals directly with our emotional sense of who we are, where we feel this great fear that we'll be alone in life. And let me tell you, it's popular. It is. I'm not worthy of love. No one likes me or accepts me. I'm a failure. I'm broken. No one wants me. To help better understand this, just before we give you out these tools, we want to talk just briefly how deeply wounding experiences find their ways of coping, and these tools we're going to give you. But we're going to break this down, loss, into three categories. You've seen rejection and betrayal and humiliation. These pictures are deeply moving pictures. They remind us of the fragile nature of our emotional inner self. It is, if this young boy had blonde hair, that's me standing right there at that age. Every one of those words I used. Now that's how come my parents had to get me back in every school I went to. It's how come I didn't study. I just read everything the night before and go take the test. I really wasn't interested. I had one goal, to be a soldier. That was my goal. And then when I got there, it didn't turn out to be such a good experience. But I understand this very, very well. When you have to walk it, and I've been to hell, and I mean that. And it's not a nice place. And I had to find my own way out. But it taught me how to help others. I can't say it was all bad. Betrayal. Betrayal is such a young age It's hard to get over. It's a deeply wounding experience I deal with every single day with humans. Every day I deal with that in another human being. We are living in times of great change, which is essential to reach out and help others, to embrace a philosophy that brings us and brings an end to the suffering. Humiliation is something people don't think about, but it's deeply wounding. In the universe, the world so filled with so much abundance, our societies have reached a point of extreme imbalance. As you see by these photographs, coping skills need to be taught. As you see this young girl humiliated by her own parents, and one day she'll be at my door because she hasn't been able to heal it. She believed what they told her, but they were wounded to begin with, to start with. Starting at an early age, these tendencies are easily passed from generation to generation. Tools. Okay. Okay. The first set. All right. Okay. All right. Designed for you to take home. All right. And there's another sheet coming right behind this. Okay. I'll do this again. We'll flip for it. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. All right. The first tool. And Richard and I talk about this. In heart math, I use a 5-5. I use a 3-5 rule. And the 3-5 rule of breathing is simple. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, we're going to practice this real quick, okay? And when you find yourself in a stressful situation, you start with your first breath. And the first breath you do is you breathe in, but you want to push your stomach out. So you pull more air into your lungs. So on the count of 3, breathing in, 1, 2, push it out, 3, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And use that image right there on the next one. As we breathe in this image, 1, 2, 3. Push your stomach out. Take yourself to relax. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get it all out. 5. Breathe in. 1. Next image. 2, 3. All the way out. Exhale. 1, 2. Tell yourself to relax. 3, 4, and 5. One more time. Okay, just 4 times. Ready? Inhale. 1. Push your stomach out. 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have now got the blood back in your brain. Anger and fear takes the blood vessels and constricts them. You lose the ability to reach your neocortex. When you breathe in like this, you're putting a lot of oxygen into the system, and the brain is taking all that oxygen blood and putting back into your neocortex where it was drained. It helps you get into your neocortex and think. If you have panic attacks, it works extremely well. You may have to pull your car over, but it works to get you out of situation after situation after situation. While deep breathing is really, really great in the moment, meditation shifts the brain activity, and breathing shifts it from one area to the other, but meditation is vital for overall mental and emotional health. Meditation develops internal situational awareness, what's happening inside of you. It helps bring the monkey mind, makes it quiet. And the monkey mind is just like it says, just chatter, 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 chatter. When the monkey mind is chattering, the role of meditation is to quiet the monkey mind. When it's chattering all the time, meditation creates a new neural pathways in the brain. It helps the brain's activity shift one area to another to relax the body and allow it to develop the observer state of consciousness necessary for you to wake up. These sets of tools are how to cope. We kind of loaded this talk up. Hanging there, okay? Because you may have to share these with others. We're going to go over this together. Everybody got one so far? Did I give you this one? Have you got one? Tools up there. Okay, now, this is for your wounding experiences. And it's using your neocortex and your emotional brain to heal yourself. All right, on your piece of paper. It has to do with writing. I can't tell you how important this is. You make a list of your experiences that have wounded or hurt you, emotionally or physically. You write it down. For instance, if I had to move away from home and friends, it happens more often than you think. A loved one died or a pet. These are wounding experiences. You don't think they bother you, but they do. A friend told my secrets, spread rumors about me. Another hurtful experience. People made fun of me and laughed at me. Someone I trusted lied. By the way, how many have experienced that? I should see every hand because it happens to everybody. Okay, bullied or abused, yes. Now, after you've remembered that this has happened to you, you write it down, you use this list of wounding experiences, you write out the answer to the following question. All right, and don't forget, by using language, I put it right here, and symbols, you're involving the neocortex, your higher brain functions. If you've got this stuff left in you, get it out. I'll tell you why in a minute. List what type of experiences this has been, and list it as loss, rejection, betrayal, or humiliation. Now you know why we gave you those examples, so you know what it looked like and felt like. It can be one of these, or it can be all of them. So you list them. All right, does that make sense to you all? But you got to write it out because you want to use that part of your brain. Explain how you feel about having this experience. And you use more than one word. I say, how you doing today? Good. Then I'll stop and go, what does good mean? I want to make an interpersonal connection with you, not a social commentary. How do I feel inside is what this question means. Where has the pain settled in my body? In healing work, this is the first thing you want to know, where the pain's located in the body. All right? Does my stomach hurt when I think about this? Is there a pain in my neck or back? Where is this tension in my body? Do I feel like crying? Are you so bad you could scream? Do you feel depressed? The more you write down, the more effective the healing is. I asked one time a young lady whose boyfriend broke up with her through an email. And I was working with her, and she just was devastated, so I asked her to write these out. And I came back down to see her, and she wrote 4 pages. But boy, did she get it out of her. And it helped her heal a lot faster. Then we took that list. I didn't put this down. But we took that list and created a ceremony where we burned it and had friends over and celebrated her life. It helps. All right, that's how you feel inside. The more you write down, the more effective. Number 4, list 3 ways or more you criticize yourself internally. How do I feel about myself? Do I call myself stupid because of this? Remember, that was on here earlier. Do I feel alone? Do I feel like a failure or call myself a failure? Do I feel not worthy? I'm not lovable. Do I feel or think I'm broken and no one will want me? Also, that was in here earlier. All right, so you see, this starts putting words to your feet and allowing you to move higher instead of lower in your healing. List 3 ways or more you gain knowledge or you receive knowledge from this experience. What positive thing has come from this experience? I have gained my freedom. I hear that a lot. I have a better job. I've made new friends. I'm wiser. I heard that one today. I'm happier. I'm more compassionate. I listen more. This is a beautiful tool to use. I'm looking for my reminder tools. They must still be in the box. I'll be right back. I got a set of tools.
Well, they're on the board.
Well, they're not here. Are you reminder tools? You got reminder tools that you want?
Mr. Geoffrey, they're on the next page.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
Already got them.
Good. Reminder tools. Remind yourself, please, taking responsibility for your own thoughts and feelings gives you choices. You can't control what others will think or say or do. No matter how hard you try, you only learn how to deal with your own reactions differently. That's it. Not everyone learns healthy habits for coping. Don't confuse that, okay? They may not have coping skills. It takes tremendous courage to go within and take responsibility for thoughts and feelings, for your actions and reactions.
So appreciate yourself for even making the effort. Know that it takes a lot of courage for you to do it. Most people don't. They don't even want to look. They run, they freeze.
This is a room full of courage people. I mean, you guys are courageous. You may not tell yourself that, but you really, from where I'm standing, it's a no-brainer. You're courageous people. We're going to show you what that looks like in a minute. Everyone gets their feelings hurt, okay? Everybody. There's nothing wrong with you when you get your feelings hurt. Answering another question was on the screen today when Davey was talking. You are not broken, you're not bad, and you're not a failure. Stop. How many in this room have used the idea you're a failure? Put your hands up. It's world-renowned, okay? Now, are you ready? Better take a deep breath. I mean that. You've never been a failure. There is no such thing as failure. There never will be any failure. It doesn't exist. Stop it. Okay?
You're just learning. You're not failing. You're learning.
You think every second of every day. And every day you're putting an emotion to it and you're creating. What you're doing is judging your creations. That's all that's happening. You have not failed to create. You want to step back and look at your creation, get into a higher brain function with it, get your heart involved, and take a look at it and go, okay, I created, so what? Take responsibility, get it over with. Because when you claim it, you can change it. You don't claim it, you're not changing it. Okay, we got that? Next time you use failure, tell yourself to stop it. It's not a bit, none of it's true. And you're lying to yourself. I don't mean that to hurt you. I use all these tools. I was telling myself, you just made that up. You just made that whole story up inside your head. I'm going to give you a quick example. I don't do very well with guns around me. I don't have them around me. You can understand why. I'm taking my dog for a walk. It's hunting season out in the farm. I hear shots off the distance. The first thing my imagination does before I can stop it is it thinks it has a bear cub it raised. And the hunters have just shot your bear cub. What do you think my amygdala wants to do to you? Well, I think you just figured it out. Okay? It took 15 seconds for that entire process to take place, and I stopped it. And as soon as I got it stopped, it shifted from bear cubs to a wolf cubs. That quick. And over the next 15 to 20 minutes, I had to do this every 15 to 20 seconds.
And remember, your reptilian brain doesn't make a distinction between whether it's really happening or you just made it up in your thought processes. You're just imagining it. You still react the same way. You get the same emotional reaction.
Oh, by the way, wishing the pain to go away, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. Wishing does not mean it's going away. When you lock your memories away, you push them back to the back of your mind or shut the door to your emotional feelings that involve a wounding experience. A time will come when the space is so filled that the door won't shut. As you stand there looking in, let it go. I deal with Vietnam vets this way. I deal with the new vets this way because I love helping them. I know what they feel like. And so Diane and I, she's helping me do this, setting up new programs for veterans to heal, to learn how to be aware differently, let go of the pain and suffering they experienced, to get on with their life. It's tough for them. Rule: you learn to ask for help when your bones are broken. I don't think there's a person in here that doesn't understand that, okay? Well, what about broken promises? It's the same thing as a broken bone. You know why? Your brain perceives physical pain the same thing as emotional pain. So you go to the doctor to get your broken bones fixed, and you forgot to go and get help. Get your emotional fixed. The broken part of you emotionally. You have to just learn to say it's okay to ask for help, for goodness sakes. It's okay. Especially when your emotional wounding experience is not physical. The part of the brain that reacts when there's a physical pain, same as when there's an emotional pain. Okay, we're going to ask some big questions here in a minute. In these exercises, we're going to answer some big questions that we save to the end. And one of these is, why do bad memories stay with you when the good memories don't seem to last? Well, I hear it every day. Somebody's asking me this question. Why do you think? Because the cells inside of you, when you have an emotional experience, explode with energy, just like that. That's what it looks like inside of you. When your cells have more power than you ever could imagine, and when they explode with energy like this, it's like a big bang, except it's happening inside of you. When a living being experiences a threat to its survival, the organism generates a tremendous amount of energy to respond to that threat. When the energy that is generated is not released, it freezes inside of you. It locks you up. Animals know how to get rid of it. Humans don't. And this is another thing we're working on with PTSD, suicide, limb amputations, limb loss, because we understand this process and to get it out of the veterans. When the energy from a trauma is much more likely to occur, that's what trauma is. Trauma is a medical term for this. When it's linked with a feeling of powerlessness and helplessness and humiliation is twice as powerful. And it nearly always happens, nearly every single time. I want you to think about what happened when they exploded a nuclear bomb. When a cell explodes with energy, it's like 6 of those inside of you. When you have 1 billion cells doing it at the same time, this is why you're getting hurt. It's why it stays with you. That's why we need the help to unlock it and help each other. You're the light and hope of the future. And don't be going looking around at somebody else either. The current state of affairs on our planet possesses a threat to our survival as a species, which causes large groups of people to become numb, frozen, and overwhelmed. This is why they look for trivial things, because the news is doing this to them. This is why they text. This is why they do what they do. It's how they escape in their own way. In mundane, if you find yourself getting into mundane and trivial things, you know that you're overwhelmed. Remember that, okay? You might choose to focus on money as a means to an end. They try to find these money. There's the money, thank you. Entertainment, movies with superheroes are extremely popular. It's our way. Look at the entertainment. It will tell you what's happening to us. It's how we're coping right now. People use misdirection, his fault, her fault, to shift the fear that's already overwhelmed them. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. I use a tool called looking through the heart. I didn't write up here. Just leave that up for a minute. In looking through the heart, the eyes give you 80% of your knowledge. Your eyes give you 80% of your knowledge, and it's geared towards your reptilian brain. When it's lying to you, tell yourself to look through your heart. Davy gave a great talk on this earlier. The tool to get to your heart, she was talking. No, it wasn't Davy. It was earlier, Maggie. Maggie gave a great talk on this about the heart and heart experience. And when you have a heart experience and your brain's doing it, when your reptilian brain's doing it, you tell yourself to look through your heart, and your brain shifts to your heart in seeing, literally. Example I give a lot, honest, true story. Walmart parking lot. Okay? Get out of the car with me. Your eyes will be down on the ground when you get out of the parking lot. We're walking around, I'm walking with you, we're talking. And my eyes look up like this. I see a lady walking towards me, but my eyes are doing the seeing now. And she's heavy set. What did my eyes say to my brain? She is, thank you. My brain, I heard it. I watched it happen. It said she's fat. I looked at her, and her energy dropped immediately. She put her head down, and now I'm 50 feet from her. We're still connected. What happened to my energy? It dropped instantly the same time hers did.
Because we're still connected. What we put out comes back to us. Your thoughts, your emotions.
Yeah, because my brain doesn't see her, it sees me. I hurt myself. I said immediately to myself, look through your heart, Geoffrey, now. And I saw her home and her family, how lovely she was, how she had a great family, and she cared for them, and they loved her. And I had this feeling of tremendous love and respect for her. What happened to her energy? What happened to mine? And it stayed with me for 45 minutes. Didn't have to do the exercise again. Look through your heart. It will help you in times of trouble in your everyday world, please. Okay. Now, we have discussed the brain, its coping mechanisms. Let's discuss the purpose of the universe and you. The purpose of a cell is survival and reproduction. In today's world, cells have amassed enough people. They've already done that. What the cells are doing right now, they're through with reproduction, and they're moving towards self-sustainability. Cells are. The cells now are moving towards self-improving.
And don't forget, we're each a cell in the body of the universe.
This is happening inside of us. It's happening outside of us. This is the future that's happening right now. It's moving to a self-supporting role in order to move into a higher order that will ensure their survival, the cells. In the history of the moment, that means a more balanced, emotional, feminine brain you've heard talked about, with more input from the neocortex. The reptilian brain's role is over. And you're seeing it fight and try to cope on a massive scale. You are watching, raise your consciousness. Look at all of humanity as one brain. And you're watching the reptilian brain struggle to maintain its control of the whole of humanity right now. And it's changing. And it's going to keep on changing because the billions and trillions and quadrillions of cells are evolving that direction. This is what's happening to us. This is a shift out of reliance on the older reptilian response patterns into self-management and responsibility. Okay, here comes your big question. Okay, why did the universe create us in the first place? Okay, why anything could be created? Why everything in the universe that was created for a purpose? What is ours? As a human being, why did the universe create us? We've been given this amazing brain and a heart to run it. That brain is evolving. We have the ability to be self-aware. We have the ability to be self-aware. There's other creatures that have this. We're not the only ones. But we have the ability to be self-aware, to put cause and effect together. We have a mind that is imaginative, that does abstract thinking. And we put all this together, our job becomes clear of what we're here for. And our job isn't any better than anybody else's. Don't get under that. You're not special. I'm sorry, but you're not. We were designed for the universe, by the universe, to reflect upon itself. The universe is reflecting upon itself, and you're it. You're a cell inside the universal mind that it's using to reflect upon itself and grow. And it's not an easy job. If you think the other animals envy you, no, you have no hair, come on. Okay, you don't have 8 legs, okay? They don't envy you. We were designed so the universe could reflect upon itself through you. There is no good or bad in this. To be self-observant, to learn from itself. It is so much bigger than you. And you aren't the only ones that have the capability. We're not the only ones who are capable of self-reflection in the universe. But together we're part of a collective consciousness, a collective brain-mind that is evolving. Our job is no more important than any other job. It's just harder. We as humans are moving from a self-centered approach to survival to a self-preserving mode of cooperation. That's what's happening. That's the universe is looking at that through its own self. Don't forget the Big Bang. We are not separate. Nothing separate. There is no I. There is only we. Where the whole is more important than the individual, we are a cell in the cosmic sense of things, all evolving together. In order for us to get there without destroying ourselves, it is essential for us to have a common, unifying vision that will sustain us as a species, one that's based on truth rather than myth. That's what's happening. That is inclusive and builds a bridge between science and philosophy. That's what Walter and Leo were doing, without which our civilization descends deeper into chaos. Every single belief system, religion has been hijacked by the reptilian brain for power and control. Every one of them. You are the first of your kind to realize there is only you with the universal one, and nothing can stand between you and everything else. Please don't hurt yourself. You don't realize how important you are. And that, I don't mean in an ego way. You're self-responsible in this room. You are critical to our survival as a species. And you don't even know how important you are. In that regard, when you leave this place, you learn to cope and help yourself. Okay. There are millions of us. Oh, in order for us to get there, one of the things that's happening to us is there's pockets of you. And you go home, there may be only one of you in your neighborhood. There may be only two of you in an entire town. But there's billions of you scattered out there, so you feel alone. But you're not. There are millions of you scattered throughout the planet. Often they feel they're alone, living in communities where they're afraid of speaking up. I see it every day living in West Virginia. Afraid of being ridiculed. Where the reptilian brain is connected through billions of people, that's our current population. Don't forget, it's been here longer. The emotional feminine brain is just in its beginning stages to lift us up out of this. We're in the process of creating new species networks. The internet can clearly boost this much needed change. The neuron fields, in this case, the centers of light that are connected are not as strong as the reptilian brain. They're more numerous in their fields. This movement is often referred to as the rise of the feminine we're talking about. We see more and more examples across the globe, but the reptilian brain has powerful hold on our emotional brain. That is a map of current conflicts. That's what you're seeing happen right now. This is the power struggle from the reptilian and emotional feminine brain. You see it in living people hurting each other. And this evolutionary part you get to be here to see and participate in. But don't forget, both of these brain areas have automatic and instinctive processes. It is therefore essential and important that connections continue or are strengthened from the few to millions. Members of One Heart and the group of speakers you have heard over this weekend have been working together for a year, creating stronger connections, bringing our hearts and minds together, praying together, visualizing together. And I know of no other group that does this, of speakers anywhere that did this. We're setting a template. As more and more light centers join us, the heart and mind connections in our collective neural net will increase. This is what's happening, and you're a part of that. To see the world in a new light, to go within and examine self and take responsibility. In the lion's path, what if at the end of the journey, to see the world in a new light, to continue to examine ourselves and take responsibility. Now this is what I have said to a whole lot of women this weekend, and I mean it. It takes so much courage. The Patty Snyders, the Joyce Gideons, there are so many of you that I want to hug and thank you so much. for having the courage to follow your own heart and do your own work. Antonia is another one. There are so many of you in this group. Ladies, stand up just a minute, all of you.
Yes.
Okay, and gentlemen,
All ladies.
all you ladies stand up, and gentlemen, let's give them a hand. All right, thank you all for having courage to step out and not take a job and work on your own and create your dreams. You are truly like this right here. And I salute you and I recognize you. It is the lion's path. But what if at the end of your journey, your life was measured by the tree of life itself? What would your tree look like? Would your tree be bare of leaves? Would you have broken branches from the decisions you've made? Or will your tree be strong and filled with leaves and healthy branches, giving life and new growth that will continue to live on and pass this knowledge forth to the next cell and the next and the next and the next? It's up to us. Welcome to the 21st century. You are the light and hope of the future. And we applaud you. Thank you all. Thank you. I can kiss you. Okay.
What an example of male-female balance, huh? It's not easy to be in relationship. It's a mirror right in your face. And, you know, what you see here is a product of a long journey of mirror in your face. And so they each have to work out their own salvation. They each have to know that the other one has to be responsible for their thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And they each have to be gentle and tender enough to hold the mirror and say, look at your gaps, you know, and not do it in an angry or judgmental way. So what a powerful download that was. I mean, if that isn't a reason for us to find the money to produce the DVDs from this weekend, I don't know what is. And that's not to say that every speaker here hasn't been absolutely over the top. You know, I think one of the reasons so many of us keep coming out to these events is because this isn't available everywhere. This is very cutting-edge stuff, what you heard from Mel and Thomas and the other speakers, and Geoffrey and Diana Bullington. So let's give them another big hand.
Thank you.
Nobody got paid a penny. This was a volunteer event on every single level. Now, we're going to break for the closing, but I'm going to say one last thing about the Blue Pot. In the last hour, somebody gave me a check for $500. If 4 or 5 more people have it in their means to do that, this budget will balance for this event. And we trust the all that is to do the work of the Universal One. I can do my part. These 2 people can do their part. And each of us have to do our part, and then everything's going to be really, really good. So we're going to have a shorter closing than usual. If you've been to prior homecomings, those closings can last a while. Geoffrey will lead us in that. I encourage him to keep it 45 minutes.
Okay, I'll keep it short.
Yeah. The other thing is, those of you who are able-bodied and have the time, if a bunch of us could work for about an hour to stack tables and chairs and roll up electrical cords, our teardown would go so much quicker tonight, and our staff wouldn't be doing that after dark with flashlights. So really going to ask for in-kind donation if you can't open your pocketbook any further. And let me say thank you for those of you who have supported this event and have contributed to the Blue Pot. The truth is, the biggest contribution is to come in here, open your heart, drink in this information, take it home, and go live it. So We're going to close on the third tier of the gardens.
Antonio can't make it up there very well. Why don't we do this out front this
That's
time?
fine. That works
Let's
even
all
better.
go out the
Right
doors.
outside. Go out the
Let's
side
all be
doors, and there's a
outside.
semicircle right here inside the drive.
right out front.
And there's enough room for us. We'll pack it
Okay?
in right there.
We'll gather hands, we'll do prayers, okay?
Somebody needs to walk up to the gardens and let them know we're doing that. Can somebody do that? Thank you.